Because if you really think about it, you realize that happiness is a feeling. It's just a feeling, right? Just like sorrow is also a feeling. So that is a very important point. That happiness is a feeling and it does not depend on outside conditions. Not that some people think, oh, when I become a millionaire, I'll be very happy. But after you become a millionaire, you want to become a billionaire. It's not. Never satisfied. So that is a very important thing to realize. That happiness is a feeling. And it does not depend on external conditions. As long as you know how to create the conditions for happy feeling to arise and to prevent the conditions for suffering or sorrowful feelings to arise. That is the way to happiness. Right? So, from my understanding of the Dhamma, I have set forth here 5 conditions that will make us happy, really happy. Happy for a very, very long time. Not just like worldly happiness where the happiness is just fleeting. For example, that you think of satay, you want to eat satay. You go and find the best satay stall in town, you go and makan. How long is your enjoyment? Short while only, yes or not? Half an hour, habis. After a few hours later, you're hungry again. Right? But this formula here, if you practice according to this, what I'm going to talk here, you will be happy for a very, very long time. So what are these 5 steps to happiness? The first one is contentment. Contentment is a very important quality to cultivate. Contentment is not dependent on external things. In the Buddha's teachings, contentment is one of the steps that a monk has to cultivate in the spiritual life. And to put it in another way, contentment basically means having few wants, having few desires. When we have a lot of desires, sometimes it's very difficult to achieve those desires. Hokkien say, ao kiu koi thao quan. Sometimes like a man marries a woman or a woman marries a man. If your expectations are too high, after marriage, you're not going to be happy, right? But if you're contented, then you're happy, yes or not? Sometimes a man, after a few years of marriage, he might see the wife getting a bit fat. Then he sees not so pretty already. His eyes starts to roam. Or the other way, a woman, after marrying a man, sees that his income is not so high. Not satisfied with his income. So this is all because of not knowing contentment. If we are contented, we are happy. If we are not contented, we are like somebody very thirsty, wanting to quench our thirst, always thirsty. You quench your thirst for a short while, then you're thirsty again, or hungry for something. So this is the first quality we need to practice. You know, our Chinese, maybe it's in our genes that we struggle very hard. And because we struggle so hard, you find, for example, in Malaysia, the race with the highest cancer is what? Chinese, right? Because we give ourselves a lot of stress, right? I stay in Timor, which is near Tapa. There we have a lot of orang asli, you know. Have you ever heard of orang asli having cancer? You ever heard? Because they take life very easy. If they have no money, they don't worry like us. They go and sleep. So that's why they never get cancer. So contentment is the first step to happiness. The second step is to know the way not to allow unhappiness to come to us. We can attract unhappiness, according to the Buddha's teachings. How do you attract unhappiness? When you give unhappiness to others. When you give unhappiness to others, it comes back to you. Because as the Christians say, as you sow, so shall you reap. What you give to others, you get back in return. So when we create unhappiness to others by killing, by stealing, by committing adultery, by cheating and all that, we give unhappiness to others, it naturally comes back to us. So to prevent this, the Buddha taught us to keep the precepts. When we keep the precepts, we refrain from killing, we refrain from stealing, from committing adultery, from lying, from carrying tales and all that. So we don't cause others to suffer. So suffering does not look for us. So the second step is to keep sila, moral conduct. If we have moral conduct, then people will appreciate us. People will look up to us. The third way to get happiness is to give happiness to others. To practice charity, generosity. This is dana. So charity is not only giving money, as Hokkiens we say, ului chut lui, ulat chut lat. So you come to the Buddhist society, you sacrifice your time to help around so that a lot of people benefit, right? Like some of the teachers here, they sacrifice their time, a few hours in a week to come and teach, give tuition to so many students, so that they attain this benefit. So that is the third way, to give happiness to others, to give kind words to others, be kind in our actions, be kind in our thoughts to others. These three karmas, the Buddha said, we must always practice loving kindness or metta to others by our thoughts, by our words, by our actions. So when you give love to others, the love naturally comes back to you. So you get happiness. So this is the third way, by practicing dana, charity or generosity, helping others in whatever way we can, so that people are happy with us, and we get back. Wherever now and then I come across Buddhists who don't understand much of the Dhamma. People who don't understand the Dhamma, they like to pantang, yes or not? So sometimes your friend passes away, or some relative passes away, they say, better don't go, and then chong tiok, and then all this pantang is not the Buddhist way. That is something from long time ago inherited from China. What is not worthwhile to keep, we throw away. What is good to practice, even if it's from other religions, we can practice. For example, Christians are known to have a lot of Christian love. When one of their friends is sick, they go and visit and give comforting words and sing some hymns and all that. We can do the same. We should do the same. Support each other, so that we give each other mutual support. So when you need support, people will come and support you. So this is giving happiness to others, is the third. Now the fourth thing is to understand that a lot of our suffering comes from the mind, mental suffering. And it arises because of 5 hindrances, the Buddha says. There are 5 hindrances that obstruct our mind, cover us, that make us not see things clearly and give us a lot of mental dukkha. What are these 5 things? First one is sensual desire. Second one is ill will or anger. Third is sloth and torpor, making us sleepy, making us lazy. Fourth is restlessness and worry. The fifth is doubt. So these 5 things give us a lot of mental dukkha. You see, sometimes in the newspapers, you find an old man raping the daughter or the granddaughter because the sensual desire makes him so difficult that he does these things. Anger is another one. If you have a lot of anger, you cannot be happy. People say something against you, even a small matter, you get so angry that night you cannot sleep. Tomorrow you still think about it. But if you don't have anger, people say something to you, you just laugh it off. The Buddha says we should not listen to everything. If the words come from a wise person, you value it, you listen to it, and you think about it. But if it comes from a fool, the Buddha says that is the prattle of fools, not worth listening, not worth paying attention. So some things you must let in one ear and go out the other ear. So this is anger. And then sloth and torpor. You have sloth and torpor, you're always sleepy and no energy to do anything. So you're unhappy with yourself, people also unhappy with you. And then restlessness, you're restless, you can't stay still. Some people always have to do something, go out. Even at night also go out. And nowadays very dangerous to go out at night. And then doubt. You have a lot of doubt, then you're always doubtful. You listen to something, you're doubtful. You want to make a decision, also you're doubtful. You're asked to make a decision A, B, C. You don't know which one to decide because your mind is not clear. So these 5 things give us this mental suffering. So the Buddha says to overcome these, we have to meditate. And when you meditate, you practice samatha, tranquility of mind. So you learn to focus your mind. And meditation is something that's very difficult to master. Very difficult to master. So you keep practicing day after day. After a few years, then you get some skill. You're able to control your mind, get a hold of your mind. And then you are able to reduce your 5 hindrances, and they don't give you so much suffering. If you are able to practice samatha meditation until you get the jhanas, one-pointedness of mind, then your mind becomes a source of happiness, a source of bliss, instead of a source of suffering. The Buddha says, an uncontrolled mind is a source of great suffering. A controlled or disciplined mind is a source of great bliss. So it is worth all that effort to learn meditation and discipline our mind. Then we become a very happy person. If you are able to focus your mind, when you attain what you call threshold concentration, which is very near to jhana, one-pointedness of mind, you notice 2 things drop very fast. One is your anger. The other one is your lust. Reduces a lot, so that even people around you will notice. Suddenly this person doesn't have such a big temper anymore. So that is the 4th thing, to practice meditation, to reduce that suffering in our mind that comes from the mind. The 5th one is to attain the highest happiness. What is the highest happiness? Nibbana. The Buddha says, Nibbanang paramang sukhang. Nibbana is the greatest bliss or happiness. But the sutta say, Nibbana is a state where the 6th consciousness stops. Our consciousness ceases. Because the world is created from consciousness. Although we think that the world is so real to us, actually it's only because of our seeing consciousness that we see the world. Because of the hearing consciousness, you hear the sounds in the world. Because of the smelling consciousness, you can smell The taste consciousness makes you taste, and the touch consciousness makes you aware of tangible things, contact in the world. So these 5 consciousness make the outer world, and the thinking consciousness makes up the inner world. So these 6 consciousness makes up the entire world. So when the 6 consciousness stops, the whole world disappears. For example, a lot of people, they misunderstand. They think that the eye sees. But it is not the eye that sees the world. Because if it's the eye that sees the world, I can do a quick operation for you. Take out your 2 eyes and put on the table. Can the 2 eyes see the world? Cannot. Yeah. But at night when you go to sleep, and your eyes are closed, and you see another world as real as now. And you're convinced that it's a real world. That's why you get very excited in your dreams. You can get frightened in your dream. So you see, in your dream state, you don't need to use your eyes, and yet you can see. That's why it is consciousness that conjures up the world. And then when this 6 consciousness stops, that is the state of Nibbana. So it's very perplexing to a lot of people. How come when there is no consciousness, the Buddha calls that the highest happiness? Because when you have no consciousness, you have no feeling, isn't it? So how is it the highest happiness? Now, to understand this, we examine the state of sleep. When we go to sleep, there are 2 types of sleep. One is the dreaming state. One is a deep sleep where there is no dreams. Even scientists, they have a name for these 2 states. So, in the dream state, it is not a very blissful sleep, because you might be frightened in your dream, you might be excited, you might be worried. But the other type of sleep, where it is so deep, and there is no dreams at all, and you are not even aware of anything, that is a very blissful state. And in that state, you are not even aware that you exist at all. Yes or not? It's because you are not aware of yourself that it is so blissful. The Buddha says when that I arises, that self arises, suffering arises. When the body arises, that is the source of suffering. When the mind arises, that is the source of suffering. Once you have a self, you are worried about yourself. You want to protect yourself. Yeah. From the moment we are born until we die, we worry about this self, trying to protect this self. So in the process of trying to protect yourself, you dare to do anything. Yeah. Sometimes when your life is in danger, you will kill also. Yeah. When the life of your child is in danger, you will kill also. Yeah. You'll do anything, right? Just to protect the self. But then there's no self to protect, that is happiness. So in the deep sleep state, they are not aware of anything. Sometimes people go and sleep in this old rest house. They get pulled down from the bed by the ghost. They're not even aware. Yeah, such a deep sleep state. So it gives you an idea of Nibbana. That gives you an idea of Nibbana. But this state of Nibbana, in the Kevada Sutta, even though the 6 consciousness has stopped, there is still another type of consciousness. It's like an inactive consciousness. The normal 6 consciousness arises with an object. When you're conscious of something, isn't it? That is Nama-rupa. Vijnana arises with Nama-rupa. Vijnana is consciousness. Nama-rupa is mentality, materiality. The physical world and the mental world that you are conscious of. But in the state of Nibbana, this inactive consciousness does not need an object. It is pure consciousness. That's why the Hindus call it pure consciousness. They say that ultimately we are all pure consciousness. And this pure consciousness pervades the entire universe. All of space is consciousness. So, The fifth step here I'm trying to explain is to try to attain Nibbana.